it's Allison. Good morning. I my legs hurt. I should probably take another Tylenol. Well, we're pretty confident now that the legs hurting is like, and the edema that I had was related to the kidneys failing, and um, and that's that. But anyways, I slept really good. Man, I only woke up twice in the night, and really wonderful rest. And I slept in. Nobody woke me up, which is good. And I told David yesterday I'm kind of think I should kind of be in quarantine a little bit um, while Lana gets better. I can go on bike rides with the kids, out in the fresh air, but not like, I don't think I'm going to do any art with them this week. I'm just going to take it easy and do my thing. Finish, well, not finish, but at least work really hard on those boxes. And yeah, anyways, it'll be a good day. It's just, I am still sleep deprived. Oh, it's a little cold, but I wanted to open the door and get some fresh air in here. And it's so beautiful because I can look out at the end of this. I'll show you. I can look out my front door and see the beautiful fall colors, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, it's a beautiful time. The yard is front yard that David and Lana have is really pretty. So today I wanted to finish up. Um, well, my tip number one was find quiet places, which is kind of similar to stand in holy places. It's about first thinking about the things that are important and then doing the worldly stuff. Yeah, because that's how you connect with the divine. And I to be honest, I haven't done that yet today, but I want to get this done because it's already pretty late. It's like 11:42, and she's coming at 1 o'clock, my nurse. So today, what I wanted to talk about though was nature. Um, when I was diagnosed, uh, I was basically counseled um, by various sources, but particularly there was a book I read called Radical Remission, and it was about cancer survivors, cancer thrivers, they call them. And these people do things that really help their body heal. Now, again, uh, it's it's rare that a stage 4 cancer um, hasn't already overtaken a lot of tissue, and so this doesn't apply. The full measure of the book didn't apply to me, but a lot of it did. And I determined that the 9 things that this lady found in common between all of these cancer survivors were good things that I should focus on because they would help me thrive as I went through this process. And I want to thrive, I want to live. Um, and so I did it. And one of the things that comes up in that book is nature. And I, I just, I have to talk about this because it's a little bit different than finding quiet places and connecting with the divine. This is tip number 2. This tip has you honoring the out of doors. And I I don't know what possessed me, honestly, but after I got the diagnosis, I thought I should go camping. And so I packed up my car and I went to 2 more national parks in Utah to complete the 5. So I was able to get to all 5 national parks in Utah last year in 2022. Sorry. In the span of 2022. I didn't know I had cancer. I was just tired in January of 2022, but I was in Zion National Park. And then I went to Bryce in March, and then I went to, I think it was Canyonlands next. And then after Canyonlands, I went to the 100-mile long, oh, come on, I'm not thinking of it. Anyways, the really long, not Castle Rock, it's something else. Anyways, and I drove to several out sort of outcroppings, where you would drive your car up to the top of a hill that could be a hike, but instead I drove it, and just the beautiful vistas of the Wasatch Mountains. And it takes effort to get out into nature. And I didn't have, like I mentioned in the earlier video, I didn't have like a huge social network, so there weren't a lot of people who wanted to go with me, so I ended up going by myself. And honestly, it was so beautiful. Nature has taught me so many things that people can't. One lesson that nature taught me is forgiveness. I want to share that story with you. I, worked pretty hard for 10 years. After I came to Utah, I worked 3 startups, basically. And startups are rough in a lot of ways. They are rough. And people try to do their best, but they fall down, and it's not pretty. You get mistreated. I got mistreated, and I didn't have the tools to correct it and to make it better. And so I went on this one trip to Idaho. Well, first of all, I went on a trip to Afton with Jonathan, and I felt good because he was with me and he knew how to run the trailer and everything. And then and that was really fun and a great memory I have with him. And then after that, I packed up my car 3 years ago and I went to Spirit Lake in Idaho. And that was sort of a follow your nose thing. Like, I didn't know where I was going to end up. I just knew that I wanted to explore that area. And I did, and I met some really cool people there, including a realtor. And she guided me around the area. And, if it wasn't for my health, I probably would buy up there. I love that area. It's a beautiful glacier-fed lake. It's cold. I'd only want to be there during the summer and the spring, but it's just pristine and gorgeous. And you can drive a short distance from there and get to the temple in Spokane, the metropolis, I guess you could say, of Coeur d'Alene, and Spokane. The flights go right into Spokane. I mean, it's just a really cool place. And Spirit Lake has a cool little story attached to it. They say that two kind of Romeo and Juliet, 2 lovers, cared for each other so much they didn't want to get married to anyone else. And when their fathers requested that they get married to someone else, they were so upset that they basically together jumped into the river, into the Spirit Lake. And to this day, you can hear them haunting and howling because they did their own thing, essentially. Anyways, it's a cool little town. It has a nice vibe to it. There's a pottery guy on the corner who just leaves his pottery shop open. You can buy pottery. There's just like 3 restaurants in the town, including a Mexican restaurant where you can eat. And anyway, so I got out of, I was upset about something that happened at work. And I popped everything into my car that I knew I needed, like for car camping. And I drove up to Idaho. It's a good 14 hours. It's a chunk. And it was a little bit of a risk. But I went up there and I spent the night, and I sort of like spent all of my energy. Thank goodness. My negative energy. I spent it out. And then I went up to this river's edge. It's the river that cuts across. It's north of Spirit Lake. It's Priest River, and they have that little town there has one little beach head. So I went to that beach head and I put my feet in the water, and I just relaxed. And I let the water speak to me, and it was a calm day. It was warm. It was sunny. Everyone that was there was calm and, vibe down, just like everybody was feeling it. It was so nice. Nobody was anxious. It was so great. It was like everybody was in tune that was there. There were just a few families. And I just sat there and I realized I had not forgiven completely the people at work. And suddenly the Spirit spoke to me through the water, saying that nature would be so much more beautiful to me if I let go, if I just let go. So I took a lot of deep breaths, and I just stared at the water reflecting the light. And over a course of probably 20 minutes, all of that angst and feverish whatever just went away. And I was like, wow, you're kidding me. Beauty does this. Beauty will eat away all of that. And it did. Beauty, outdoor nature, it really just ate away all of the bitterness and all of the confusion, and I realized that if I stayed focused on it, that I would get that from life and not all of the ickiness. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. And it kind of comes on the tail of another realization that I'll talk about in the next video, which is just about beauty in general. When you focus on beauty and focus on creation and the things that bring you joy, there is no room for all of the yucky stuff. It goes away. It just disappears. And I like to live my life that way. Some people might think I'm in denial, but I don't think I am. It's just choosing to focus on the good things and letting go. And so I'm really grateful to nature for teaching me that lesson. Another lesson that I was taught, I looked for the feminine in nature. And I can't really share because it's too sacred. Well, all of the things that I learned about women, motherhood, and femininity. But I can tell you this. I know that the feminine influence is just as important in the gospel plan as the masculine. I know that she participates in the exaltation of her children every bit as much as her husband does. And yes, it's true that in this life, I do believe that the priesthood has been restored. That's the power of God. These are ordinances that allow us to progress and to make sacred covenants with God. That comes through men. But other things come through women that are equally as important. Um, just a simple one is descendancy, the actual birthing of children comes through the woman, initiated by the man. And you can say the reverse is also true, that spiritual journey that we take back to our Heavenly Father is initiated by the man through ordinances, but she continues this thing by teaching her children all through their lives and preparing them to tackle the outside world. And I'm grateful for both men and women and the masculine and feminine influence in nature. You have to, if you're a woman, you don't get taught these things in church. You have to spend time with her. You have to feel the wind in the trees and look at her abundance and find her correcting things that humans have messed up. It's so beautiful what she does, and I don't think God put us on earth to just like moan and groan. He wants us to feel joy, and in the process of feeling joy, learn some really important things that will prepare us for the next existence. So, my tip here is to really take a look at your calendar. And, I am grateful. I have to say, I'm really grateful to my parents, my mom especially, for loving camping and loving the out of doors. I'm not athletic. I'm not like a superstar sports person or anything, but I